Hi, this is Jim, and today I'm going to show you how to get your thread started. I'd shown some of my videos to my wife, and she said, Jim, all of us aren't left-handed like you. So I do need to explain that I tie left-handed, and so most of my tying would be kind of backwards from what you're doing, but I hope you understand that and get used to it. If your vise is on the right, like this one, then that would be for a left-hand tire, and that's the way you'll see my vise most of the time. If your vise is on the right, like this one, then that would be how right-handers would normally tie. I'm going to show you how to get your thread started now, and before I do though, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about this hook. This part of the hook from behind the eye, this is the eye where you tie on your line. This part from behind the eye to where the bend starts right here is called the shank. So right here, this is the shank, it's a straight part. The distance from this shank down to the tip, the point of the hook, is called the gap of the hook. And a lot of times we measure our materials either by a shank length or two shank lengths, or one gap or a gap and a half for length of a piece of material that we want to put on our hook. The hooks come in different sizes, from very, very tiny to huge. Most of the time for the flies that I tie, which a lot of them are bluegill and crappie, those are usually size 10s and 12s, sometimes 14s. For the trout, a lot of times 14s, 16s, and 18s. For my smallmouth bass flies, it'll go clear up to size 2 or even 1/0. So the smaller the number there, the larger the fly. And of course, if you tie a size 20 fly for trout, that's a very tiny fly. It also, we can have a 1x long, which means that this shank here is just a little longer than normal, or a 2x long, or 3x long, or 4x long. The 4x long, the shank would be clear out to here, so that would be for more like streamers. We could also have different size wire. You can have 1x heavy, 2x heavy, 3x heavy, and as you get heavier, this wire gets thicker. So the hook, figuring out which hook to use, a lot of times you just use whatever the pattern calls for, or close to what the pattern calls for. To start our thread, we start holding on to the loose end close to us and put the bobbin out away from us, up above the hook. Then you bring it down onto the hook and you can start wrapping. Now as you wrap, this thread would still come loose if I let go of it right now, because it's not overlapped, so you can just come right off. But once I start overlapping this, so I'll work my way back now, if I overlap it, now it won't come loose even if I pull on it. So the thread is locked in. Usually what we do is put a base wrap on the shank of the hook, which means cover most of the shank of the hook. You work your way back, and then according to where you want to, what you want to do next, you'll put your you move your thread to where you want to apply that next piece of material. Quite often it's at the back, clear back here by the bend, and you'll tie on a tail or something like that. But once in a while you want to start up here at the front. And that just depends on the fly. So I hope you understand a little bit more about the different hooks and how to get your line started. Good luck with your tying, and you're ready for some more skills here.